The Laodicean War. The Laodicean War, or Third Syrian War, was a significant conflict between the Seleucid Empire and the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt in the 3rd century BC. This protracted war fought primarily over the control of Coele Syria, a strategic region that today includes modern-day Israel, Lebanon, southern Syria, and the Palestinian territories, emerged as a direct result of the dynastic conflict within the Seleucid Empire following the sudden death of King Antiochus II Theos in 246 BC. The war, though deeply rooted in personal and dynastic struggles, quickly grew into a larger, more complex struggle for regional dominance. It significantly influenced the political landscape of the ancient Mediterranean world and contributed to the shifting alliances and rivalries among the major Hellenistic powers. Chapter 1. Introduction: The death of Antiochus II and the dynastic struggle. In July 246 BC, Antiochus II Theos, king of the Seleucid Empire, died unexpectedly. This event created a power vacuum that destabilized the Seleucid state, marking the beginning of a period of internal strife and territorial conflict. Antiochus II's death was particularly impactful because of the complex and divisive nature of his family relations. He had two wives, Laodice II and Berenice Phernephorus, who bore him rival heirs, Seleucus II Callinicus and Antiochus Hierax from Laodice, and another Antiochus, who was the son of Berenice. Both women, representing competing factions within the Seleucid court, sought to install their sons on the throne after the king's death. Antiochus II had married Berenice Phernephorus, the daughter of Ptolemy, the second Philadelphus of Egypt, in an attempt to solidify a political alliance with the Ptolemaic dynasty. However, upon his death, Berenice's son was left vulnerable to the machinations of Laodice, Antiochus II's first wife, who had borne him two sons. In a swift act to reclaim power, Laodice had Berenice and her child murdered, securing the throne for her own son, Seleucus II Callinicus. This bloody act, however, had profound consequences for the Seleucid Empire. It ignited a massive conflict with Egypt, as Berenice's brother, Ptolemy III Euergetes, declared war on the Seleucid Empire to avenge his sister's death. The murder of Berenice and her child created a ripple effect throughout the ancient world. While the Seleucid Empire struggled with internal turmoil, Egypt, under the leadership of Ptolemy III, mobilized its forces for what would come to be known as the Third Syrian War. What began as a dynastic struggle for succession within the Seleucid Empire soon escalated into a much larger international conflict that would involve not just the Ptolemaic and Seleucid kingdoms, but also other neighboring powers. Chapter 2. The Third Syrian War. From dynastic feud to international conflict. The death of Berenice and the subsequent Egyptian declaration of war in 246 BC marked the formal start of the Third Syrian War. Ptolemy III's goals were twofold: to avenge his sister's murder and to secure territorial gains in the eastern Mediterranean. Egypt, under his leadership, was seeking to take advantage of the internal strife within the Seleucid Empire, which was already weakened by its own dynastic struggles and the rise of regional powers such as the Parthians in the east. The early stages of the war were characterized by swift Egyptian victories. Ptolemy III's forces advanced rapidly through Seleucid territory, capturing key cities including Seleucia on the Tigris and the Seleucid capital of Antioch. These victories significantly destabilized Seleucid authority and morale, and the capture of Antioch in particular was a symbolic triumph that allowed the Egyptians to exact revenge for the death of Berenice. The Ptolemaic forces were able to establish a foothold in Seleucid territory, and Egypt's ambitions seemed poised to reach new heights. However, the Egyptian occupation of Antioch was not without its challenges. Despite their early successes, the Egyptians found that maintaining control over a city that had many citizens loyal to the Seleucid dynasty proved difficult. Local resistance in Antioch, fueled by those who still supported Seleucid rule, created a tense environment that undermined the Egyptians' position. These complications revealed the difficulties of sustaining authority in conquered territories, even after achieving significant military victories. At the same time, Seleucus II Callinicus, the newly crowned king of the Seleucid Empire, responded to the Egyptian advance with remarkable resolve. Despite the empire's weakened state, Seleucus was able to rally support from loyalists and mount a series of counterattacks against Ptolemaic forces. His leadership and ability to consolidate his power amidst internal divisions helped stabilize the Seleucid position and began to slow the Egyptian advances. In the course of a few years, the Seleucid forces regained some lost ground and managed to recapture cities that had been taken by the Egyptians earlier in the war. Chapter 3: The Long Struggle for Babylonia. By 245 BC, the focus of the Third Syrian War shifted to the region of Babylonia. This region, located in modern-day Iraq, was of immense strategic and economic importance. Babylonia was rich in agricultural resources and held control over key trade routes, making it a highly coveted area. The city of Babylon itself was a symbol of power and wealth, and its control was seen as a key objective for both the Seleucid and Ptolemaic kingdoms. Ptolemy III, eager to secure Egypt's position in the region, launched a campaign to establish Egyptian control over Babylonia. Early on, the Egyptian forces made significant gains, capturing several key cities along the Euphrates River. However, they faced mounting resistance from local populations who were loyal to the Seleucid monarchy. Babylonia had long been a key stronghold of Seleucid power, and the Seleucid people and their military leaders were determined to resist foreign occupation. The resistance in Babylonia proved to be formidable, and by 245 BC, Seleucid forces, under the leadership of Seleucus II, began a counter-offensive to reclaim the lost territories. The Seleucid army, now reinvigorated and unified, systematically recaptured key cities and pushed the Egyptians back. The Egyptian occupation of Babylonia, which had initially seemed secure, quickly unraveled as Seleucid forces regained control of the region. By the end of 245 BC, the Egyptian forces were forced to retreat from Babylonia, marking a decisive turning point in the conflict. Chapter 4: The Role of Mithridates, the Second of Pontus, and the Revolt in Parthia. As the Third Syrian War continued to unfold, Seleucus II Callinicus sought to secure alliances to bolster his empire's position. One of the most significant diplomatic moves of the war was the marriage alliance between Seleucus II's sister, Laodice, and Mithridates II of Pontus. Mithridates II was a powerful and ambitious ruler, and his alliance with the Seleucid Empire helped to stabilize the western frontier, particularly in Anatolia. However, even as Seleucus secured his western borders, the Seleucid Empire faced challenges from the east. In Parthia, the local satrap, Andragoras, declared independence from Seleucid rule. The revolt in Parthia exposed the vulnerability of the Seleucid Empire's eastern territories, which were vast and difficult to govern. Parthia's strategic location as a gateway to Central Asia made it an important region, and Andragoras' rebellion was a significant blow to Seleucid authority. To quell the Parthian revolt, Seleucus II was forced to divert significant military resources, further straining the Seleucid Empire. The rebellion in Parthia not only challenged Seleucid control over the region, but also provided opportunities for other emerging powers, such as the Parni nomads, to assert their influence. Over time, the Parthian revolt would lay the groundwork for the rise of the Parthian Empire, a new and powerful force in the region. Chapter 5: Conclusion: The Aftermath of the Third Syrian War. By 241 BC, the Third Syrian War had come to an end, and both the Seleucid Empire and the Ptolemaic Kingdom had experienced mixed outcomes. Egypt secured key coastal territories, but its failure to maintain a lasting presence in Mesopotamia and Babylonia underscored the limitations of its power. The Seleucid Empire, despite its internal divisions and military setbacks, had managed to retain control of its core territories and reassert authority over its eastern provinces. The war had reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the Hellenistic world. Egypt's influence in the Aegean diminished as it faced defeats at the hands of Antigonus II Gonatas, and the Seleucid Empire's alliance with Mithridates. Both powers faced the challenge of rebuilding their strength in a world where territorial boundaries were in constant flux, and shifting alliances were key to survival. In the aftermath of the war, the Seleucid Empire demonstrated its resilience. Despite the turmoil and external threats, it had successfully reasserted control over critical territories, including Babylonia, and had secured diplomatic alliances that would help stabilize its borders. Egypt, on the other hand, retreated from its aggressive expansionist policies and refocused on consolidating its position in the Mediterranean. The Third Syrian War may have ended inconclusively, but it had set the stage for future conflicts and realignments in the Hellenistic world. As both empires continued to vie for dominance, the Laodicean War served as a reminder of the volatile nature of the Hellenistic period, where dynastic struggles, shifting allegiances, and military conflicts continually shaped the political realities of the ancient Mediterranean.